What if I told you that everything you've been told about aging might be wrong? For years, we've been conditioned to believe that growing older is something to fear, that it means decline, limitations, and fading into the background. Society tells us that youth is the peak of life, and that everything after a certain age is just a slow downhill journey. But what if I told you that much of what you believe about aging isn't actually true? These beliefs don't just shape how others see us, they shape how we see ourselves. And when you believe something long enough, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So today, let's break free from these 5 biggest myths about aging. Because the truth is, you are not as limited as you think. Let's start with the first and most damaging myth of all. Myth number 1. Aging automatically means decline. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, I'm just getting old," as if it's some unavoidable curse? Maybe you've even said it yourself. It's almost as if we've been taught that aging is a switch that flips, and once you pass a certain age, your body and mind just start deteriorating. But this simply isn't true. Aging doesn't automatically mean you'll lose your health, your strength, or your mental sharpness. What matters far more than age is how you live. There are people in their 30s who feel sluggish, stiff, and mentally drained. And there are people in their 80s who are strong, energetic, and still sharp as ever. What's the difference? Lifestyle. Science has proven that the way you move, eat, and think has a far greater impact on aging than your actual age. Your muscles don't disappear just because of age. They weaken when they aren't used. Strength training, even in your 70s or 80s, can rebuild muscle. Your brain doesn't automatically slow down. Learning new things, reading, and staying mentally engaged creates new neural connections, even as you age. Your body doesn't just give out. Regular movement, even light stretching and walking, keeps your joints and heart healthy for decades. The people who age well don't accept decline as their destiny. They challenge themselves, they stay engaged, and they keep moving, literally and mentally. Aging isn't a sentence, it's a process. And how you experience it is in your hands. Myth number 2. You can't learn new things after a certain age. You've probably heard the saying, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." And for some reason, society has taken this phrase and applied it to people. Some people believe that after a certain age, they're too old to learn new skills, start new hobbies, or embrace new opportunities. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Your brain is an incredible organ. It never stops adapting. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, which means your brain can form new connections, no matter how old you are. Think of all the people who have started new careers, written books, or learned new talents later in life. Grandma Moses started painting in her 70s and became one of the most famous folk artists of all time. Peter Mark Roget invented the thesaurus at 73. Fauja Singh ran his first marathon at 89. And let's not forget all the grandparents who mastered smartphones, tablets, and social media just to keep up with their grandkids. Learning isn't about age. It's about curiosity. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So if you've ever told yourself, "I'm too old to learn something new," I challenge you to try. Pick up a book, take a class, try a new hobby. It's never too late. Myth number 3. Happiness declines with age. Happiness is one of the greatest misconceptions about aging. People assume that the older you get, the less happy you become. That with each passing year, Life loses its color, its excitement, its joy. But what if I told you that this belief is completely wrong? That in fact the opposite is true. Research shows that people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s often report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction than those in their 30s and 40s. Seems strange at first, doesn't it? Society tells us that youth is the best time of life, that getting older means losing the things that bring us happiness. But the truth is, as we age, something incredible happens. We stop sweating the small stuff. Think back to when you were younger. How many sleepless nights did you spend worrying about things that in the long run didn't really matter? How much time did you waste caring too much about what others thought of you? How often did you compare yourself to others, feeling like you weren't doing enough, achieving enough, being enough? As people get older, they start to realize just how pointless those worries were. They begin to see life from a new perspective, one that allows them to let go of unnecessary stress and truly embrace what matters. And that's another thing. Priorities shift. Younger people often chase things they think will bring happiness, success, money, material possessions, status. But as we age, we learn that real happiness doesn't come from what we own or how impressive our accomplishments look to others. It comes from the simple things. The warm laughter of a loved one, a deep conversation with an old friend, the feeling of the sun on your face during a quiet afternoon, the moments that don't cost a thing but mean everything. Older adults also tend to let go of toxic relationships and negative energy. When you're young, you might tolerate friendships or connections that drain you just to avoid conflict. You might spend years trying to fix relationships that don't serve you, or holding on to grudges that only weigh you down. But with age comes wisdom. You start to realize that life is too short to spend it surrounded by negativity. You become more selective about who you allow into your life. You invest in relationships that bring you joy, peace, and fulfillment. Another reason happiness increases with age is because older adults stop chasing things that don't bring real joy. When you're young, there's this idea that you have to do it all, reach certain milestones, follow the expected path, constantly push forward. But as people age, they start to question whether these things actually bring them happiness. They stop doing things just because they feel like they're supposed to, and instead start focusing on what truly makes them feel alive. And perhaps the most powerful change of all is the growing sense of gratitude. When you're young, it's easy to take things for granted. Your health, your time, the people around you. But as the years go by, you begin to understand just how precious those things really are. You learn to appreciate the present moment in a way you never did before. A simple sunrise feels more beautiful. A quiet evening at home feels more peaceful. A conversation with a friend feels more meaningful. Gratitude becomes second nature, and gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to increase happiness. So, does happiness decline with age? What actually fades with age are the unnecessary worries, the toxic influences, and the empty pursuits that don't serve us. What grows is a sense of peace, clarity, and appreciation for what truly matters. If you've ever feared that getting older means losing happiness, let this be a reminder that happiness isn't behind you. It's still ahead of you. And the best part is, you get to decide how the rest of your story unfolds. Myth number 4. It's too late to make a change. One of the most damaging beliefs a person can hold is the idea that it's too late. Too late to get in shape. Too late to repair relationships. Too late to start over. To chase a dream. To become the person you've always wanted to be. But let me tell you something powerful. It's never too late. This belief that time has passed us by, that our best years are behind us, that change is no longer possible, this belief is nothing more than a lie we've been told. A lie we've repeated to ourselves for so long that we started to believe it. But the truth is, as long as you are still here, you still have time. Your body is capable of more than you think. Scientists have discovered that our bodies are constantly regenerating. Every day, new cells are replacing old ones. Your muscles can be rebuilt no matter your age. Your brain can form new connections, keeping you sharp and engaged. Your habits, no matter how ingrained they may seem, can be reshaped. The people who live the longest, the happiest, the most fulfilling lives are the ones who never stop moving forward. They understand that change is not reserved for the young. They know that every single day, no matter their age, is a new opportunity, a fresh start, a chance to do things differently. Think about the stories of people who didn't let time stop them. There are people who started painting in their 80s and became world-renowned artists. People who ran their first marathon at 90 years old. People who went back to school, learned new skills, and transformed their lives at an age when others assumed they should be slowing down. The only thing that makes something impossible is the belief that it is. The moment you stop telling yourself that you're too old, too late, or too far gone, you realize that change is still within your reach. You can rebuild your health, one small step at a time. You can mend broken relationships with a single conversation, a single act of kindness. You can start something new, learn something new, become something new, because your story isn't finished yet. The past is behind you. The future is still unwritten. So don't let the idea of too late rob you of the years still ahead of you, because the best years of your life, they might just be the ones you decide to truly live. Myth number 5. Aging means losing your purpose. One of the most harmful myths about aging is the belief that growing older means losing your purpose. That once your children are grown, once your career slows down, once the roles that once defined you shift, you are left with nothing. So many people tie their sense of worth to what they do, to the job they held, to the responsibilities they carried. And when those things change, they start to wonder, who am I now? What do I do with my time? What is my purpose? But purpose doesn't disappear. It just changes. Purpose isn't something you lose when your circumstances shift. It isn't something that belongs only to the young, or to those in the workforce, or to those raising families. Purpose isn't a title or a job description. Purpose is something deeper. It is found in the way you contribute, in the way you share, in the way you give meaning to each day. Think about the elders in your community, the ones people turn to for advice, for stories, for guidance, the ones who share their wisdom, not because they have to, but because they know their experiences can help others. That is purpose. The grandparent who teaches a child something new, the neighbor who looks out for others, the retired teacher who still finds joy in helping someone learn, the storyteller who keeps history alive, the artist who creates, the gardener who nurtures life. Your purpose doesn't end when one chapter closes. It simply shifts into something new. You can still inspire, you can still mentor, you can still explore, create, and contribute in ways you never had time for before. Some of the greatest discoveries, the greatest contributions, the greatest works of art and literature have come from those who refused to believe that their best years were behind them. Studies show that people who stay connected to a sense of purpose live longer, healthier, and happier lives. When you wake up each morning with something to look forward to, something to share, something to contribute, your body and mind stay engaged. Purpose gives you energy. It gives you motivation. It gives you a reason to keep going, to keep learning, to keep connecting. So if you've ever wondered, what now? What do I do with this stage of my life? Know this. Your story isn't over. Your purpose isn't gone. It is still within you, waiting for you to embrace it. Because life doesn't stop giving you opportunities to grow. And as long as you are here, there is still something meaningful for you to do. The truth is, aging doesn't make you unhappy. What makes people unhappy is believing the myth that it does. It's the belief that happiness is reserved for the young, that once you reach a certain age, the best moments are behind you. But that's not the truth. That's just a story society has told us for too long. In reality, getting older allows you to live with more freedom, more clarity, and more peace than ever before. It's a time when you finally understand what truly matters. A time when you can stop living for others, stop chasing expectations, stop holding on to things that were never meant for you. It's a time to let go of unnecessary worries. Think about all the things you used to stress over. What people thought of you, whether you were doing enough, whether you were on the right path. And now, looking back, how much of that really mattered? The beauty of aging is that it allows you to release those worries, to finally understand that most of what we stress over isn't worth our energy. It's a time to prioritize what truly matters. When you strip away the distractions, you realize that happiness isn't found in status, in material things, in keeping up with others. It's found in the small, quiet moments, in deep conversations, in the warmth of connection, in the simple joy of being present. It's a time to surround yourself with positive relationships. As we age, we become more selective about who we allow into our lives. We stop tolerating negativity. We choose relationships that bring us peace, friendships that uplift us, connections that are built on love and trust. And that makes all the difference. It's a time to stop chasing external validation and focus on inner joy. When we're younger, we often live for approval. We measure our success by how others see us. But with age comes wisdom, and with wisdom comes the understanding that happiness doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. And it's a time to appreciate life in a way you never did before. Because when you've lived enough years, you start to realize just how precious each day is. You stop rushing. You stop taking things for granted. You see beauty in the ordinary. You feel gratitude for the simple things. A quiet morning, a kind word, a moment of peace. So if you've ever feared that happiness fades with age, I hope this message reminds you of the beautiful truth. Your happiness isn't behind you. It's still ahead of you. And the best part? You get to decide how the rest of your story unfolds. Because life doesn't stop giving you opportunities for joy. And as long as you are here, there is still so much left to experience, to learn, to love, and to cherish. If you've made it this far, then you're someone who values wisdom, longevity, and the art of truly thriving as you age. And that's exactly what we're all about here at Ageless and Thriving. elderly wisdom. This isn't just another channel. This is a community, a place where we support, inspire, and learn from one another. A space where experience is valued and where aging is seen as an opportunity, not a limitation. By subscribing, you'll gain access to science-backed insights, powerful life lessons, and practical advice from the world's longest living and most fulfilled people. We're here to challenge the myths of aging, celebrate the beauty of experience, and help you live with energy, confidence, and wisdom. But more than that, by joining this community, you become part of something bigger, a group of like-minded people who believe that life doesn't slow down, it just gets better. So if you're ready to embrace this chapter of life with purpose and vitality, hit that subscribe button now. Because growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing wiser, stronger, and more alive than ever before. Welcome to Ageless and Thriving. Welcome to a community where we don't just age, we thrive.